I need to get my nose spray. What a great start to the video. Oh my god, I feel like that went straight to my brain. Right, hi guys. So this is my fitness journey video. This was quite highly requested, so I thought I would just sit down and chat you guys through my fitness journey. I did take some questions on Instagram, so I'm going to be answering them like throughout, and then maybe if I have time at the end, answer some specific ones. I'm just conscious about being sat here talking at the camera for too long. I personally don't find videos like that engaging, so I am going to be popping in like videos and pictures, so it makes it a bit more interactive for us all. But yeah, let's crack on. This is take 4. Yes, you had that right, take 4. I filmed this video 4 times. It's a hard one for me because my fitness journey on Instagram is so positive. Over the past year and a half, I've just found such like happiness in weight training and food and just within myself, as like silly as that might sound. However, my journey with food and fitness hasn't always been the most positive, and is not something I've ever actually spoken about on Instagram. To be honest, up until this point, it's not something that I have felt comfortable to bring up. I'm treading carefully, and I'm gonna talk about it as much as I feel is natural, but I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I feel uncomfortable and too scared to even post a video online. So, however, I would like to put a trigger warning here at the beginning of the video, just warning that if you have any issues with subjects of restrictive eating, eating disorders, counting calories, like excessive exercise, just kind of things like that, please do not watch this video. That is what I would advise you not to do, because those topics will be covered. So I guess what makes the most sense to do is kind of start at the beginning, not like baby beginning, but the kind of beginning. So as a child, I was born into a very sports orientated family. My family was so sporty. We used to literally go on like sporting holidays. As a kid, I played netball, tennis, I did gymnastics, I did Irish dancing at one point. Like, we were always going and like doing something sporty on the weekend. Even our holidays, like we'd go on tennis holidays where we'd go away and do a week of tennis training and then a week of like chilling and playing for fun. That was just how like we spent our free time. So like sport has always been, yeah, like a massive passion for me, and I've always loved exercise. So I think that kind of gives a good background and insight into kind of why I've got so much drive and so much love and passion for fitness. So I played netball quite competitively, and like to a fairly high level. Like I played for Kent County, which obviously it's not like up here, but I was very good for my age at one point. And then it kind of got to a turning point where my priorities started to shift. I literally think I started to go through puberty, and like I wanted to like hang out with my friends more. I wanted to like go to parties and things like that. And this was around the age of 14. I feel like it's getting to that point now. I can't cry this early on. This next section of the video is, like I said at the beginning, not something I've ever spoken about online before, not something I've ever really spoken about to some people in my life. I'm very much one of these people, when I'm over something and I feel like it's done, I don't like dragging it up into the present. However, I've gone round and round about covering it and talking about it, and I think that with my platform, if I'm able to talk about the issues that I previously had and help someone who currently is going through those things see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that it's going to get better, then that's like, I'm done. I can stop making YouTube videos. Like, if I can at least help one person. And I've, like I said, gone round and round about whether to talk about this, and whether to kind of make myself slightly vulnerable on the internet, I guess. But if I can help one person feel better, that's more than me feeling uncomfortable talking about something that happened in the past, if that makes sense. So when I finished playing netball around the age of 14, I'd been playing netball like 6 days a week, really intensely. So when I stopped, but I carried on kind of like eating the same. Also, it's important to note, I was going through puberty at this point, so my body was naturally changing anyway. I developed an eating disorder, which I suffered with for 2 years, in the form of bulimia, which was a really hard 2 years of my life. And it took me a really long time to kind of accept that I had an eating disorder, even when I went through therapy and recovery. Like, for years I was like, oh, but I wasn't like ill and I didn't look like I had an eating disorder, which is so sad to me now, because when I look back, like obviously I did, and my behaviours weren't normal. Like that wasn't how a 14 to like 16-year-old girl should be like feeling and acting, but like I said, I think I was just very in denial about it because of the fact that I never felt like I looked like I was unwell. I think that was the hardest thing about having bulimia, is that it's like the invisible eating disorder, because it doesn't necessarily come with drastic weight loss. Like you don't necessarily have the red flags of somebody with anorexia. I feel like it was quite a silent struggle for 2 years. I literally was like, don't cry in the video, like it's fine. It seems silly because it happened so long ago, but like I said, I've never really spoken about it. But I'm happy to air it and I'm happy to talk about it, because like I said, I just want to show how, if you ever have been in that dark place with food in that way, like it can get better. And like the food freedom that I feel like I have now, and like my mentality towards food, is like the best I could ever possibly have imagined. And when I was going through that, I never thought I would ever be at this point. Like I remember sitting there thinking like, I'm gonna have this torture in my life forever, because that was how I saw food. I was like, I'm gonna be tortured like this forever, because I'm always gonna have to eat food. Food's always gonna be in my life and I'm never gonna get over this. And I just wish I could go back and be like you'll be fine. Like obviously it took a long time, but like if I could see me now, I know I'd be like, wow, like I did it. So it's just, I hope that if anyone is watching this and going through the same struggles or anything like that, that this can kind of show you that it can get better. That's personally as much as I'm going to talk about it on. It's, like I said, it's not something I've spoken about before. I feel like this will make me anxious enough posting, so I don't want to share too much and then not want to post the video. I don't know whether that sounds silly, but I hope you guys understand. And maybe one day, like if I build up a bit more courage, I can open up about it a bit more and maybe make like a different video on it. I'm not sure. I don't want to promise anything because I'm not sure. After around the age of 16, I did get help in the form of therapy and a lot of conversations with my mum, and I then went into recovery. And from that point onwards, my relationship with food was still in a bad place, in the form of yo-yo dieting, like in and out of these extreme diets, because if I'm being honest, I was completely like uneducated on what, like, I don't want to say uneducated because that sounds so mean, like I was 16, I wasn't supposed to really know what a diet was, I wasn't even supposed to care. Yeah, so from the age of, I'd say around 16 to 21 really, up until the point when I started like this main portion of my fitness journey, I entered into this cycle of like yo-yo dieting, like toxic cycle, where I would go through stages of like periods of not massive restriction, but like restrictive eating, in the way that like I would cut out food groups because I thought like they would make me fat. Like I'd cut out carbs, I'd cut out meat. I went through periods of being a vegetarian just because I thought the protein made you gain weight. Those kind of dieting patterns went on for a good few years, and I think it was just because I would go through these periods of being like, well, this is what diet is. Like I'm supposed to eat eggs and a rice cake. I'm not even joking. I will insert pictures. I found this on my camera roll the other day. I used to eat eggs and a rice cake. One day I ate eggs and rice cake for breakfast, lunch and dinner because I was like, it's lean. Like I saw someone eat it once on Instagram and they look amazing, so obviously I'm just gonna eat it and I'm gonna look like them. And then so I'd go through like a week of eating like that, and then I'd give up because obviously I'd restricted myself so much that I was like, oh no, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I want to be able to eat whatever I want. And then I'd overindulge in all of the foods that I'd cut out of my life. And I think I went through that for like a good few years. And I know a lot of you, when you DM me on Instagram, are kind of going through similar things. Will probably relate to that, because a lot of the time we feel like in order to diet, it's supposed to be this really negative, horrible thing. And for years, like I went through cycles of being like, my weight would drop substantially over like the course of like 3 months. I'll put in these like photos I found, like then I don't know whether you can see the like big difference, but like the difference between these photos was literally 3 months. And I remember in the black outfit, I was going to the races, and I remember being like, okay, well, I'm gonna lose loads of weight just to go to these races so I look good. So I'd go on these horrible diets for like 3 months and like over exercise, like overdo cardio and things like that to try and like drop weight, and was just like caught in this really bad cycle, like I said, of like losing weight and then gaining it all back because I've been so restrictive. And I would say that actually went on up until the point that I started with my coach Georgie, which was like a year and 3 or 4 months ago now. So basically the portion of my fitness journey that you've all seen on social media is the portion where I finally kind of managed to like snap out of that. And that was one of the main questions that a lot of you asked me, was like, how did you finally get out of that cycle of like short-term diets and holiday diets and things like that? And it got to a point after the first lockdown where I had neglected my health so much. I'd drunk a lot, I'd eaten a lot of like bad, like unnutritious foods. I don't want to say bad foods because there is no bad foods, I don't mean it like that. I just mean I ate a lot of like unnutritious foods, like takeaways, was having like full English breakfasts every morning, like, and then going on to drink a crate of cider in the afternoon because it was the first lockdown, the weather was amazing. Like, I don't regret any of it because I had such a good time and it was the best coping mechanism when the whole world was going crazy. But I did neglect my health and I neglected my fitness, and I came out of the first lockdown in a position where I felt quite uncomfortable in my body, if I'm being honest. I went away on holiday and I just remember like being like, I'm so unfit physically, like I could notice it when I was like walking around, and just uncomfortable in my body. And I was just a bit upset that I'd kind of let myself get to that point, being in that cycle of losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, and constantly being on this like roller coaster of emotions with my body. And I was like, I'm so fed up of it. I just want something to click in my head that would just make this like lifelong for me. Like I'm fed up. Like I literally was like, I'm so done with yo-yo dieting. And when I got back from my holiday in Marbella, I remember I contacted my coach Georgie, who I'm still currently with, who I found through Instagram. And from there, and like this is my fitness journey that has been on social media and TikTok and Instagram and things like that, and this is the portion of it that you've seen. So I think what a lot of people kind of are interested in is more like the beginning sort of stages and like when you are on the actual like weight loss journey. So I started with my coach in August. I will pop in loads of photos throughout this bit just to show you guys my progression through like the past like year and a half basically. So with my coach, I weight train, and throughout my whole journey, I've only ever maximum trained 5 times a week. Personally, 5 times a week is too many for me. I prefer to do 4 more intense sessions that I have more energy for. So the majority of them have been like 4 times a week, but it's always been weight training. That is how I got from my beginning stage to where I am now. Ladies, do not be afraid to weight train. It is honestly my favorite form of training, one of the best things I've ever done. It has definitely helped me develop far more shape in my body than I ever had before. I'm now jumping ahead, so I'm gonna jump back. Initially, I was weight training 4 times a week, and I think I was doing like 2 15-minute sessions on the Stairmaster. Like, we were not cardio intense. It was mainly weight training and daily steps. So my steps were always above, I think they were above 11,000 at the beginning. And throughout my whole fitness journey, they've always varied between 10 to 12. But yeah, I think the focus was mainly on weight training and steps, and then a little bit of cardio and being in a calorie deficit, which obviously helps for weight loss. So after, a lot of people always kind of wonder, like, when did you first start seeing results? Like, when was the point where you were like, okay, like I've lost the weight? And I want to put this in now because this makes the most sense. Like at what kept me going, because obviously, like I said, I've been in this horrible like loop of toxic dieting circles, and a lot of people always say like, well, what made this sustainable? What made this lifetime? And honestly, I think it was like, I remember sitting down and being like, if you want to make this alive, like, stop focusing on how you're going to look in 4 weeks. Like, think about 4 months and 4 years, because that's when you'll have the big differences. If you want it to be a lifestyle, and if you really want to build sustainable habits, then you have to think long term. Like, forget about the short term, get that completely out of your head. Those initial 4 weeks, I mentally remember like I felt a lot better. Physically, I'll put the photos in, but I don't think I saw that dramatic of a change. Obviously, I had lost a bit of weight, but I felt so much better in myself knowing that like I was working towards my future and doing what I've always wanted to do in terms of fitness, and I'd been really consistent over the past 4 weeks. The point where I was suddenly like, okay, like I looked at myself and was like, wow, like I've actually nearly like done it, was 3 months. At the 3 month mark, I remember like looking in the mirror and being like, wow, like I'd built a lot of like shape. I'd lost the majority of the weight that I wanted to lose. I had like started to build shape in my legs that I'd never had before. At that point, I probably still had like a tiny bit more weight that I wanted to lose just to get in the best position to a reverse diet. I actually stayed in a calorie deficit for quite a long time. This was purely because of lockdown. So I obviously started my calorie deficit in August. The aim was to carry it through till kind of December, and then reverse diet through like January and like the early months of this year. However, in January, obviously Manchester was in tier 5, or everywhere was in lockdown, I can't really remember, but gyms were obviously shut. So me and my coach kind of made the decision to drag out the deficit, kind of like then reverse diet when gyms opened, because reverse dieting paired with like weight training and progressive overload is one of the best ways to keep your body fat low but gain muscle through upping calories. So that was always the aim. The lockdown obviously then got extended for quite a long time, and it got to the point where me and Georgie were like, okay, like we just need to start reverse dieting anyway. So gyms opened. Please, I might have got these months mixed up, like I'm trying to like reel it off the top of my head. About halfway through March, we decided to end the deficit and start reverse dieting. So I will put in photos of my very first photo with Georgie. I'm really sorry if these are around the wrong way as well. I don't actually know which way I'm pointing. So I was actually in a deficit for around 6 to 7 months, which obviously was quite a long time. But like I said, because of lockdown, we made the decision to kind of like long it out a little bit. So then gyms opened in April and we did start to build calories up. I did kind of touch on my reverse diet going a little bit pear-shaped in my last video. Now that I've kind of aired some of my previous relationships with food, it makes a lot more sense for me to kind of discuss it now. Obviously, when we started reverse dieting, like I said, had always been through periods of low calories are the only way to lose weight. If I eat too much, I'll gain weight. Complete and utter bullshit, please. Can I just like put that out there? That is rubbish. Like, I don't want people to see this and think that that is fact. That is rubbish. You increasing calories does not mean gain fat, gaining weight. Like, that's just, for me to say this was me in summer this year, still having that little niggly thing in the back of my head. So when we started reverse dieting, I remember being like, we got to like 1,800 calories, which is, I mean, I'm on higher than that now, but it was on the highest I'd ever consciously been on. And I was like, oh no, like I don't feel like I look good, like blah, blah, blah. It got very into my head, and I think it was old niggles probably coming back and me kind of like giving into them. And I just said to my coach, like, I don't want to reverse diet anymore, like I'm panicking, like I just want to put a pin in it, we'll just stop it. And then I went on holiday, so I actually went back into a slight deficit, just to lean up for holiday, which you guys will probably know this, like you follow me on Instagram. I'm sure, like, I don't want to go into this in too much detail, but now we are currently reverse dieting. I'm on the highest calories I've ever been on, and it sounds silly, but like making this video has actually made me like think I'm so proud of myself, because oh my god, like stop, like I feel like sometimes I don't recognize like how far I've come in terms of my eating and my attitude towards food and things like that. But yeah, like I'm on like, I think I'm on like 1,850 calories, and we're just gonna keep pushing, and I feel really good about it. Like, was at the moment like are both like aesthetic, because I'm fine to put a bit of weight on now. Like I kind of want to build up my bum, like so next summer it's like wow. Then just increasing strength in the gym. Like I'm, like I said, like I've fallen in love with weight training throughout my journey, and it's one of the best things I ever started doing. And if I give anyone a bit of advice, if you are even weight training, if you are going to like a million cardio classes in a month and you are hating it, you are not supposed to hate your fitness journey. Your fitness journey is supposed to be something that adds and benefits to your life, like not something that you're doing because it's a form of torture for yourself. Like, you don't like weight training, there are a million different types of exercise out there that you can do. Like you can find maybe like spinning classes, even like I've seen like dance classes are so good. Like there's so many different variations of exercise that you can try. Even like going for long walks, like that is a form of exercise. Like find something that you love, otherwise you are just going to resent your fitness journey and not want to do it. And if I could go back in time, that is the one piece of advice I would tell myself. If I don't know why suddenly I'm giving everyone advice, like I'm definitely not qualified to do this, but I feel like I'm on a bit of like an emotional journey in this video, so I'm just gonna like let it roll. One thing as well, like your diet, like if you take anything from my page and my TikTok and social media and whatever, like it's that your diet is also supposed to be enjoyed. Like if you want long-term sustainable results, like you need to be eating food that you enjoy. And I think in a way, this is gonna sound so soppy, but like I wish that younger me could have seen my page, and that sounds really silly and I don't want that to sound like up myself, but I just want people to like look at my page and realize that like you can have an unrestricted diet and still meet your fitness goals. Like I eat everything and anything under the sun if I can fit it into my macros and my calories. Like I will never cut anything out apart from meatless Mondays now, but that's for the environment, so that's fine. But I will never cut out any food groups or anything like that. And I feel like I went through years of eating like turkey mince and eggs for breakfast because I was like, this is health. Like it's just your fitness journey, if you want it to be a journey and you want it to be sustainable and lifelong, it should be enjoyed and should benefit your life. So enjoy all the food that you want to enjoy, do the exercise that you enjoy doing. Don't just do something because Sally on Instagram or Karen down the road is doing it and they look great. Like you can find your own path and feel great and look great. So don't feel the need to kind of fit into the internet's niche of a fitness journey and following that fitness journey. And I feel like, have I put like vodka in this because I'm literally on like a drunken ramble right now? I don't know why that got so deep so quickly. I'm sorry guys, but I feel like I like opened the floodgates and then the floodgates were open and it just kept coming. I feel like if you take anything from this video, it's that like a lot of people have messaged me like, you have such a good relationship with food, and it hasn't always been that way. Like it's something that grows over time and everybody has their struggles, everybody has their demons, but like there's, I don't know how to word this. Health and fitness and having a fitness journey and having a fitness lifestyle doesn't happen overnight. Like for me, this has been a journey pre-Instagram that I've been on and struggled with and fallen over more hurdles than you could count with for, I don't know, like 10 years. And it didn't just click overnight. Like for me, obviously I got to a point where I was like, enough is enough. I got to that point after going through hundreds of failed diets and hundreds of failed like exercise regimes and gym routines and all of that kind of stuff. So don't beat yourself up if it's taking you a bit longer to get to the point where it does finally click. Like I said, it doesn't happen overnight for everyone. Nobody's born knowing how to go to the gym. Like I always think that, like nobody's born knowing how to set up a hip thrust and like hip thrust 100 kg. So really don't beat yourself up. Like it's a time thing, and if you want it to be sustainable, then you should be in it for the long game and ready to learn through every hiccup, through every point. Oh my god, I am gonna start like being one of those people that like writes like posters and puts them on the wall, because the amount of inspirational quotes that have come out of this video. Right, I think I'm being a bit annoying now, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know a lot of you did want to kind of know about like my fitness journey, my background, so I hope this has covered everything for you. As always, please like the video, subscribe and comment if you did like it. Please feel free to comment like other video ideas that you'd like to see. I'm always open to suggestions and I love just making content that I know that you guys will love as well. So thank you so much.